Hey, welcome back to Conversations with Creatives. I'm Carol White-Llewellyn, your host, and I am here talking to Bleu Cease, the Executive Director and Curator of the Rochester Contemporary Arts Center. So we were just talking about the diversity of programs that you do at the Arts Center. And one of the questions that comes to mind for me is, with regard to your Arts Center, how do you define contemporary art?
Very loosely.
That's not a good enough answer.
First and foremost, we don't really make an aesthetic judgment on that. Technically, we only show, almost exclusively, living artists and recent work by those artists. So we tend not to show work that was made 40 years ago by someone who's still working today. We tend to show the recent works, the most interesting, the works that they're most engaged with at this time, usually work that has not been shown in Rochester before. So those are kind of general rules of thumb. We, as I mentioned before, we're always striving for this kind of diversity in our program. And that really stems from two aspects of our mission. One, bringing fresh ideas into Rochester, works and concepts and projects that have not been seen here before, and maybe even the likes of which have not been seen. Anything similar doesn't happen or hasn't been happening in the region. So we see that as part of our mission, to bring those projects to Rochester, infuse the local community with something new. And then the other part of our mission is to support local artists. So there may be artists of all different styles, all different media, all different backgrounds and education, et cetera, that fit into those two aspects of our mission.
Interesting. How do artists from across the country find your organization?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sometimes artists just, will constantly. I think the active artist who's really interested in pursuing the next level, and that is usually, to use a term common in the art world, that is an emerging artist. Mm-hmm. Someone who isn't, say, showing at major museums yet, but hopes to. Mm-hmm. But they're out of grad school or undergrad, and they're working actively, and they've certainly been exhibiting. That's the broad definition of an emerging artist. Those artists are always looking for new opportunities in new cities, especially where there's some history or some tradition of showing work that fits in with theirs. So they find us based on just web searching and knowing other artists that we've shown.
Mm-hmm. Let's switch over now to the 6x6 show, which is one of my favorite annual art exhibits, and I think it's really a brilliant fundraiser for your organization. For those who haven't been there before, could you describe it and how it came about?
Well, what we did is we looked around the country and to some degree, internationally, at this sort of small art fundraiser phenomenon, which there are many. Mm-hmm. And we took some different details from a number of other organizations and projects so that we were sure we weren't copying someone else's exercise or someone else's exhibition or fundraiser. And we came up with this system where we would invite anyone and everyone to make a small 6-inch artwork, 6 inches square, a painting, a photograph, anything, a doodle on a napkin, anything goes. The works would be anonymous. They signed only on the back. They're for sale for a standard price, $20. And upon purchasing, you find out who made it. And so really our pitch was that there's sort of something for everyone. First of all, you can contribute with little effort or investment. It doesn't take much to fill this much space with artwork. And so the artist feels like they're contributing and they're involved, but they're not like, giving us their most valuable piece to be sold under value, right? So, and then from the buyer's side, with up to 7,000 different artworks in the exhibition from all around the globe, there is something for everyone's taste, hopefully. So they can spend $20, $80, $100 and buy 5 artworks and support a good cause. They find out after purchasing who made it, so there's a gamesmanship to it. Opening night is very competitive. It has a whole reputation around town. And it's just been a huge success. The big part of it, I think, is that there's low level of engagement and there's a low investment for people to get involved with it. And we don't feel like we're pulling teeth to make people contribute.
I've been involved with it on both sides. I've bought art, and this year we had a party with my daughters and the moms, and we all did artwork and contributed, and it was truly one of the most fun things that we've done as a group. So,
That's great.
you know, I want to encourage any teachers or any parents that are out there who would like to get their kids involved with art, that, you know, this is a really accessible way to work together on it.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
I'm curious, you know, it's such a huge undertaking to put up 6,000, 7,000 pieces. What is the process?
We have come up with different systems for it over the years. There's, you know, probably 20 volunteers who help us each year, and then new volunteers come online each year. But we have about 20 people who periodically help us for that exhibition with different parts of it throughout the year. And they tend to volunteer only for that project, which is cool. It's great. We love that. But that's the answer. I mean, it takes a lot of volunteer effort. Our staff works, you know, long hours during the months of June and July, so that we can stay open and host a lot of gatherings and you know, usually meet our fundraising goals with that. One of our challenges, you know, as I mentioned before, is that you know, as we've succeeded and grown and become, you know, very visible, in some ways more visible than you might expect for as small as we are, one of our challenges is making sure that everyone who's contributed to 6x6 over the years is still making at least one artwork. So we still have them engaged, so no one feels like, oh, that'll be a success without me. Well, that'll be fine without me. They don't need my piece. So we're kind of countering that and trying to make sure that we get everybody engaged with it all the time, every year, while also bringing in new artworks from Madagascar and Thailand and just, you know, around the globe. So it's expanding both locally, maintaining the local engagement, but also growing globally.
We don't have much time in this session, but can you quickly let people know how they contribute, how they can get involved?
Simply go to our website. There are stipulations and some, you know, basic rules to it, but essentially you sit down and make a 6-inch by 6-inch artwork and mail it to us. That's it.
Great. Okay, we're going to go to break now. When we come back, we'll talk about conversation bridge.